Empower Youth Week will hold a summit in Orange Farm, south of Johannesburg, to empower the youth. The annual summit will take place from the 23rd to the 28th of May with the aim to expose the youth to informative and educational opportunities in various economic sectors. Joining to tell us what to expect is Dumi Leroux, project lead for the Orange Farm Youth Transformation, and Professor Bonang Mohale. A very good afternoon to you both. Dumi, if I may start off with you, this is an absolutely incredible initiative. Walk us through some of the activities that will take place over the week of this initiative.
Okay, so thank you so much, Hugo. It's such a pleasure to be here at this moment. So what youth can expect at the Empower Youth Week that's actually taking place from the 21st of May to the 28th of May is coming in and curating their own program according to their point of interest. So what we have done is we've developed industry stages that will then expose youth to different sectors and industries that they are allowed to then go learn more from and essentially grab onto opportunities that are available for them. So we're talking 4IR, we're talking arts and culture, we're talking entrepreneurship opportunities for those in that space. We're talking transport, which is coming in there with the Transport Education CETA, who's currently sponsoring. We're looking at retail. We're looking at, the health and the wellness industry. So there's quite a number, of streams that are available for you to then explore during this particular week. And most importantly, we are exposing them to opportunities that are available for them to grab onto. So from jobs, mentorships, internships, learnerships, as well as, just exposure as to what's out there at the current moment.
Now, how many youth are we talking about? And is it just youth from Orange Farm?
So we're actually currently oversubscribed. We had an activation program which then ran for the past 3 months. So we've got 6,000 youth in Orange Farm and surrounding areas that have registered to participate, but we will then be capping the numbers according to the COVID protocol and limitations. But this is a hybrid event, so we are available on streaming platforms. But what we've also done is that we've partnered with a number of youth structures, churches, NPOs, and NGOs that then will then open up their doors to youth who don't have a smartphone, a digital device, to be able to join in from the comfort of their home. So our target audience is definitely the nationwide youth of the country. We are looking at a global pandemic when it comes to youth unemployment, inequality, and poverty. So we're making sure that we are reaching those extremities. And at a further point, we'd actually like to then replicate the program, looking at touching 5 provinces next year, and then looking at the full 9 provinces in 2024.
Professor Mohale, you penned a book, Life as You Rise, and one of those chapters speaks about people development. Talk to us about how you intend to develop youth during this program.
Hugo, my dear brother, for me, one of the key demographics that will assist in eliminating poverty is the youth. 60% of the 60.1 million South Africans are 35 years or younger. They are hungry to work and contribute to society. All they need is a practical and sustainable solution that will enable them to move into the future with hope and the right skills. Why Orange Farm? I participate every year because this is an annual event, because we want to share the little that we know. You see, Orange Farm is a rapidly growing township that is widely regarded as one of South Africa's largest informal settlements. So here we're talking about approximately 85% of the population that works in Johannesburg. Most of the people use trains to get to work. Almost 40% of the residents are unemployed. But you see, Orange Farm falls within one of only 2 areas where the Human Development Index is below that of Johannesburg. Here I'm talking about a long and healthy life. I'm talking about knowledge, and lastly, a decent standard of living. On all of those 3 measures, the youth of Orange Farm are absolutely the last. Geographically, it is displaced from the business districts of Greater Johannesburg. It is largely a marginalized dormitory area with no economic base of its own. It is totally dependent on Johannesburg. So for me, Orange Farm is emblematic of still 28 years into democracy, how all the townships are still located on average 40 kilometers away from places of work, thereby taking almost 40 minutes one way to go to work, another 40 minutes coming back, and thereby consuming 40% of their monthly wages. If you add food, that's 70% of their monthly wages. No wonder we have the lowest savings rate in the BRICS counterparts. So I participate purely and simply want to see what is it that we can do to give them opportunities to invest in their own personal growth and development, and then lastly, to make sure that their own motivation comes from within, because if you want to succeed, you will succeed irrespective of the background and the circumstances, because your past should not determine your future. Hugo?
No, it shouldn't. Professor Mohale, you raise a couple of issues. The one thing you talked about is that the youth, young people, are hungry to learn, but they're also physically hungry. Now, how do you convince young people that are physically hungry to endure due process and not take shortcuts to earning a living, making money, which in many occasions is illegal?
So, Hugo, you see, I come from African theology that says when somebody comes to your church and say, I'm hungry, there is no use in praying for them. Share the bread that you yourself was going to eat. Share the tea that you are going to drink. And share the accommodation that you are going to sleep in. That's how we were brought up. Therefore, first and foremost, I represent big business, and we are saying we must give preferential treatment in our employment practices to young people, because they are the ones who are heavily invested in the future. You see, yesterday. The youth is not tomorrow. It is the here and now. If we don't do that, Hugo, what we saw in the 2 weeks of July of a failed insurrection, rampant looting, I tell you, is going to happen again and again and again, because 28 years into democracy, we have all not collectively succeeded in eradicating the legacy of apartheid. Let me end, Hugo, by saying, and we know there's an African adage that says, a child that is not embraced by his community will burn it down in order to feel its warmth. So for me, I really want to be part of the solution, not just enunciate and categorize the problems. I have been in Orange Farm from the first shack when it was first created with Africa Tekun to see what is it that we can help. I was there in the middle with the late Dr. Tandi when we were saying, how can we build them sustainable structures of bricks and mortar? Because you see, unfortunately, 28 years into democracy, poverty, like the pandemic, still has primarily a black and feminine face. Hugo?
It certainly is. Dumi, coming back to you, you've talked about oversubscription of this project, certainly by those that are wanting to participate. Is the virtual space an option for those that can't physically be there?
No, Hugo, absolutely. I think, like I expressed, this is a hybrid summit. So those that are not able to join in the 2,000 daily that we can accommodate, they definitely are then referred to a virtual space. So we engage on YouTube, we engage on Twitter, and as well as on Facebook. So these are live, these industry stages will then be live streamed for the duration of the event. So the virtual space is definitely an option for those who aren't able to then attend physically.
Dumi, now what's abundantly clear is that the hard skills will be taught over the 7 days of this transformative process. But what about the soft skills? Because my challenge and certainly observation is that when youth are coming out of this environment, many of them are a little rough around the edges, for want of a better description, through no fault of their own. Now, in order to go into the employment space, there are certain values, certain soft skills that you should learn. Is this part of the conference?
Yes. So if you will allow me, Hugo, I just want to give you a bit of an explanation. So Empower Youth is actually a property of a strategic creative marketing agency called EmpowaYouth's. So EmpowaWorks gave birth to Empower Youth 6 years ago, and this year marking our 7th year, particularly to drive inclusion and lead the country sort of to a point where we can become more economically inclusive. So the platform itself is driving soft skills through the panel discussions, the keynote addresses, the master classes, and workshops that will then take place on ground for the duration of the week. The opportunities that are then brought forth by the partnering entities, both in a public and private capacity, will then provide the training and placement platform for the youth that then participate within this particular summit. So Empower Youth is the platform in which draws closer opportunities for youth, and we do this in partnership with various entities that then bring on these opportunities. And when we then run the soft skills and the conversations, the inspiration and the motivation that then they will then need in order to make a decision when it comes to career path, and just sort of identifying what the aspirations actually are.
Dumi Leroux, project lead for the Orange Farm Youth Transformation, and Professor Bonang Mohale, who's one of the key speakers and confirmed participants. Appreciate your time this afternoon.